So in this video I'm going to show you how to create this leaf shape which utilises a 4-stitch increase at these points here, which creates these 3 ribs that are split out from a central point, and then right at the top we've got this central decrease that decreases 4 stitches down to this one central rib. So I'll be explaining how to do those two, but it also utilises our plain brioche rib and the increases and decreases that we learned in the previous videos. So although we will be using those in this video, I won't be explaining in detail how to do them. So if you haven't had a look at our previous 2 tutorials, then pop along to those now and familiarise yourself with those stitches before you come along to this one. So as with the previous 2 tutorials, we're going to cast on 21 stitches in your preferred method. Stretchy methods are better, like long tail, but as long as you keep the stitches loose then it should be fine. So I'm going to do a long tail. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So just carry on until you have 21 stitches, just making sure that you keep this nice and loose. So we're going to work a setup row to start our brioche, just like we did with the brioche rib. We're going to slip the first stitch with our yarn held to the front, then we're going to take it between the needles to the back and knit 1. Then we're bringing the yarn between the needles to the front and slipping, and that's creating our slip 1, yarn over, and we're just going to continue like that till the end. Knit 1, yarn front, slip, yarn over, knit, yarn front, slip, knit. So just carry on to the last stitch. So we're doing slip, knit, yarn front, slip, knit, yarn front, slip, knit, yarn front, slip, knit, yarn front. So we're going to slip, yarn over this one, knit this stitch, and then when we get to the end we're bringing our yarn between the needles to the front, but we're just going to slip this stitch off the needle. So now we're just going to do 2 rows of plain rib. So this is our main side, our right side. So we're going to start with a knit 1, yarn front, slip, that's your slip, yarn over, and then we're doing our brioche knit. So yarn front, slip, yarn over, brioche knit, and just continue to the end, and then when you get to that last stitch just knit that last one. So now we're going to work our contrast side, plain rib. So we're slipping that first one with the yarn in front, brioche knit, yarn front, slip, yarn over, brioche knit, just like we did on the other 2 tutorials. So we're just doing plain brioche rib, slip 1 yarn over, brioche knit till we get to that last stitch, and then you just want to slip that last stitch with the yarn in front. So we've just worked a main side and contrast side plain rib. If you want to do more, then just repeat those 2 rows a few more times, just to give yourself a bit more of a rib before the pattern starts. So we're on our main side, and we're going to start with a knit 1, slip 1, yarn over, brioche knit, and we're going to do that twice, slip 1, yarn over, brioche knit twice. Then we're going to do a slip 1, yarn over, and we're going to work a right leaning decrease. So we're slipping, knit the next stitch, pass the slip stitches over, pop this onto the left needle, slip these stitches over, pop it back and tighten it up. Slip one yarn over, and now we're going to work our increase. So as with our brioche knit yarn over brioche knit increase, it's worked on a wrapped stitch, and it's exactly the same principle. We're going to brioche knit into the stitch, wrap the yarn over, but don't slide the stitch off. We're going to bring the yarn between the needles to the front, trying to line up our stitches as before, knit into the stitch again, but don't slide it off. So there you can see I've got my 3 loops all nice and neatly lined up. Bringing the yarn forward, wrapping it over to the top, lined up again, and knit into that stitch again one last time, and that will now give me 5 loops here all lined up. So that's a 4 stitch increase. Okay, so now we're going to work a slip one yarn over and a left leaning decrease. So we're slipping, we're going to knit these 2 together, so we're going through the 3 loops. Oops. And then we're passing the slipped stitch over, just give that a tighten, and then we're just doing a slip one yarn over brioche knit until we get to, oops, pop that back on, until we get to the end, and then we're just going to knit that last stitch. Okay, so now we're working our contrast side row after our increase. So we just need to do brioche rib up to the point of the increase. So we slip with yarn in front, brioche knit, then we're just going to do slip one yarn over brioche knit 3 times. So that's 1, 2, 3. Okay, and now we can see we've got our 5 increase stitches here. So we bring the yarn to the front and we slip yarn over the first one, and as before when we've done our previous increases, we're going to knit the second stitch, yarn front, slip yarn over the third, knit the fourth, and yarn front, slip yarn over the last one. So now we've given these stitches their little wraps, which is what they were missing. So now we're just going to brioche knit, slip yarn over to the last stitch, which we're going to slip with the yarn in front. Okay. As before, we're just going to do now a main side and contrast side plain rib. So we're knitting the first stitch, slip one yarn over, brioche knit till we get to that last stitch, and then you're just going to knit that last one. And now the contrast side rib, slipping that first one with the yarn in front, taking the yarn to the back, brioche knit, slip yarn over, brioche knit, slip, and just carry on until you get to that last stitch, and then we're just going to slip that one with yarn in front. Another increase decrease row, so we're going to start with a knit, slip yarn over, brioche knit, and then we're going to slip yarn over, and now we're going to do a right leaning decrease. So we're slipping, knitting, passing the slip stitch over, stitch onto the left needle, passing the stitch over and moving it back onto the right and just tightening that up. Okay, then we've got a slip yarn over, brioche knit, another slip yarn over, and now we're back to our central stitch where we're going to do another 4-stitch increase. So we're knitting but not sliding off, yarn to the front and over, knit again, don't slide off, yarn to the front and over, again lining all these up and knitting, and that's our 4-stitch increase. And now we've got a slip yarn over, a brioche knit, a slip yarn over, and now we're doing a left leaning decrease. So we slip knitwise, we're knitting these 2 stitches together, so that's going through all 3 loops. Oops, there we go. Try that again. There we go, and pass that stitch over and tighten up. And then we just slip yarn over, brioche knit to that very last stitch where we're going to knit. And again, now we're working our contrast side row, so we slip with yarn in front, brioche knit, and then we're going to slip knit 3 times. That's 1, 2, slip yarn over, brioche knit, and now we're up to where our increase stitches are. So again, slip yarn over the first one, plain knit the second one, slip yarn over the third, plain knit the fourth, and slip yarn over the fifth, and just then continue to slip yarn over, brioche knit to the last stitch where we're going to just slip that with the yarn in front. And step 4 on the pattern is now just a main side and contrast side plain rib. So we start with our main side, so knit 1, slip yarn over, brioche knit, slip yarn over, brioche knit, and we're just going to work our way along to that last stitch, which we're going to finish with a knit. And now the contrast side rib, so we're slipping that first one with the yarn in front, taking the yarn between needles to the back, brioche knit, slip yarn over, brioche knit, all the way to that last stitch, which we're just going to finish with a slip one with yarn in front. Okay, so now we're on to another increase and decrease row. So this is step 5 main side if you're following the pattern. So we're going to start with a knit 1, a slip 1 yarn over, and then we're going to work a right leaning decrease. So we're slipping, knitting, pass over, oops, stitch over, pass stitches over the top and back onto the right needle to tighten that up. Okay, now we're going to do slip 1 yarn over, brioche knit twice. Okay, then we slip 1 yarn over and we're back to our centre stitch, which is our 4-stitch increase. So we're knitting in, wrapping, knitting, wrapping and knitting again, neatly lining up those 5 increase stitches there. So now we've got slip 1 yarn over, brioche knit, and we're doing that twice. Oops. Then we've got our slip yarn over and a left leaning decrease. So we're slipping, knitting through all 3 loops and passing that over. Then we're finishing with a slip 1 yarn over and a knit in that last stitch. Okay, now the step 5 contrast side, which is our return row. slipping that first one, and we're going to brioche knit, and then we're doing slip yarn over brioche knit 3 times. 1, 2, 3, up to the point of our increase. So we're working our slip 1 yarn over knit, slip 1 yarn over knit, and then we're back to slip 1 yarn over brioche knit. I'm going to work all the way to the end. Then we're just going to slip that last stitch with the yarn in front. This time we're going to work 6 rows of our plain brioche rib, so that's 3 main side and 3 contrast side. So as always, we start our main side with a knit 1, slip 1 yarn over brioche knit, and just repeat slip 1 yarn over brioche knit to the end, and then we're going to knit that last stitch. Contrast side plain rib, slip with the first one with the yarn in front, take it between the needles to the back, brioche knit, slip 1 yarn over, and just repeat that to the last stitch where we're going to slip with the yarn in front. So you want to repeat those 2 rows, the plain rib, main side and contrast side, twice more. This is how your little brioche sample should look. Now we've got this central rib with these arches coming off like this. Now I'm going to start decreasing now, so it'll start decreasing from the outside in and come to a point. If you'd like this central section to be a bit longer to extend the shape of the leaf, then just work some more plain rib rows at this point here. So this is step 9 now on the written pattern. So we're on our main side row, and we're going to knit the first one, and then we're going to slip yarn over, and then we're going to do just a 2 stitch increase, which is a brioche knit, yarn over, brioche knit, neatly lining up those 3 stitches. Slip yarn over, and now we're going to start to bring our leaf shape together by doing a left leaning increase. So we're slipping that first stitch and then knitting these 2 together. Pass that over and tighten that up. Now we've got a slip 1 yarn over, brioche knit 3 times. So that's 1, 2, 3. Slip 1 yarn over, and now we've got a right leaning decrease. So a slip, knit, pass, move the stitch, pass over, and move the stitch and tighten up. Then we've got 1 slip yarn over and our 2 stitch increase. So brioche knit, yarn over, brioche knit, all into the same stitch. Slip yarn over and finish with a plain knit. So now we're working our return row, our contrast side row. So we're slipping with the yarn in front, bringing the yarn to the back, brioche knit, slip 1 yarn over into that first increase stitch, knit the next stitch, then we're back to slip 1 yarn over brioche knit, and we're doing that 6 times. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, slip 1 yarn over brioche knit, and slip 1 yarn over brioche knit. That's our 6. Now we're into the other increase at the other side, so we'll slip yarn over, knit one, slip one yarn over, brioche knit, and slip in that last stitch with the yarn in front. And there you can see the edges of the leaf have started to curve inwards. Now we've got our usual 2 rows of plain brioche rib. Our main side starts with a knit one, then we slip one yarn over, brioche knit all the way to that last stitch, which we're just going to knit. Step 10, contrast side, plain rib, slip one with yarn in front, brioche knit, slip yarn over, brioche knit, and just carry on to the end. And then we've just got our slip with yarn in front on that very last stitch. Step 11 is another increase decrease row, main side, so we're going to start with a knit one, and then we have a slip one yarn over, and now we're going to work our 2 stitch increase. So we've got brioche knit, yarn over, brioche knit all into that same stitch, slip one yarn over, brioche knit, another slip yarn over, and then we're going to do a left leaning decrease. So we're slipping, knitting together and passing over, tying that up. Then we've got a slip one yarn over, brioche knit, and another slip yarn over, and now we're moving on to a right leaning decrease. So we slip, knit, pass over, move the stitch, pass over, and move the stitch back, tighten that up, then slip yarn over, brioche knit, slip yarn over, and now we have our other increase on this side. So knit, yarn over, brioche knit all into the same stitch, slip yarn over and knit one. Now we're working our return row on the contrast side. So we're going to slip that first stitch with yarn in front, brioche knit, and then we're working into our increase here. So we slip the yarn over the first one, knit the second one, and slip yarn over. And now we're going to brioche knit, and we're going to do that another 5 times. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and we're across now to the other increase. So we slip yarn over, knit one, slip yarn over, brioche knit, and we're slipping that last stitch with the yarn in front. So you can see now the edges are curling round to create that lovely leaf shape. And as with most brioche patterns, we're now going to work a main side and contrast side plain rib in between our increase and decrease rows. So this is a main side rib, so we've got knit one, slip yarn over, brioche knit, and just repeat to the end where we'll finish with a knit one. Now the contrast side, plain rib, so we're slipping with yarn in front, yarn between the needles to the back, brioche knit, and then slip yarn over, brioche knit all the way along until we get to that last stitch, which we're going to slip with the yarn in front. So this is now step 13 in the written instructions, and we're going to work our way along, and I'm going to show you how to do the centered decrease in the middle. So we're on a main side row, so we're going to knit the first stitch, slip one yarn over, then we've got our simple 2-stitch increase here, so brioche knit, yarn over, brioche knit all into the same stitch, we're going to slip yarn over, brioche knit twice. Once, twice. Okay, so we're going to slip yarn over, and now we're going to be working across these 5 stitches. So you can see here the middle of the leaf, so that's where we want the decrease to finish. So we have these 2 stitches on this side and these 2 on this side that we want to decrease all into that 1 stitch in the middle. So our next stitch should be a wrapped stitch, so we're going to slip that one knitwise, then we're also going to slip the other stitch knitwise. Now it's important that you do these separately, so don't try and slip those 2 stitches at the same time. Okay. Now this stitch here, which is our central stitch, we're going to pop that onto either a stitch marker or a cable needle, and we're going to slip that off and just hold that to the front. Now don't forget you've still got this slip yarn over here, so your yarn should be coming over the top of that stitch there, even though we slipped these. Okay, so we're going to knit the next stitch. Try and pull that quite tight because you've got this yarn over coming over quite a lot of stitches, so we're pulling that quite tight. Let's try and move this out of the way so you can see. Okay, so this is the stitch we've just knit, and this is the second stitch here that we slipped, and it was a single stitch, it wasn't a wrapped stitch. So we're going to lift that single stitch over and off, over and off the needle. Then we're going to put this stitch onto the left needle. So this is our stitch that was knit, so we can tighten that up. And then we're going to pass this stitch, which is a wrapped stitch, so we've got 2 loops. We're passing that up and over. Okay, then we're passing our knit stitch back onto the right needle, and we're going to pass the first stitch that we slipped, which was a wrapped stitch. So we've got these 2 loops here, and we're going to pass these over and off the needle there. And I might need to hold the stitch. There we go. Now we're going to take our held stitch and we're going to put that onto our left needle. And then we're going to transfer this stitch onto our left needle as well. And we're passing this held stitch, which is our central stitch, so it's 2 loops, and we're passing that over that one and off the needle. Okay, and then we're passing this stitch back over onto the right, and we're going to pull that to tighten that up. And that is our central decrease. Okay, and then we're going to slip yarn over, brioche knit twice, slip 1 yarn over, then we've got our increase, brioche knit, yarn over, brioche knit, all into the same stitch, slip 1 yarn over, and brioche knit, and knit, sorry, that last stitch. Okay, so if we have a look at this, you can see those stitches have all merged into that central one there. So now we're going to work in our step 13 return row, our contrast side row. So we're slipping that first stitch with the yarn in front, then we've got a brioche knit, and now we're working into that increase. So we slip yarn over the first one, knit the second one, slip yarn over the third one, brioche knit. I've got 6 of those, that's 1, 2, 3, Now we're working a slip yarn over into our increase, knit one, slip one yarn over, brioche knit, and then slip with yarn in front that last stitch. Now just to finish off, we've got 2 rows of plain brioche rib. On main side, so knit one, bring the yarn to the front, slip one yarn over, brioche knit, and we're going to just repeat that to the end, and we're going to knit that last stitch. And now the contrast side plain rib, so we slip with yarn in front, take the yarn between the needles to the back, brioche knit, slip yarn over, brioche knit, all the way to that last stitch, which will be slipped with the yarn in front. So there you can see this leaf shape here, where you've learnt your 4-stitch increases here, and then this central decrease up here, which makes the rib in the middle sit on top of the left and right decreases.